Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 2000 Project, where myself and Russell Howell are doing a deep dive into the movie year 2000. And oh boy, Russell, we're filming this on a really sad day, like sad couple of days in our history, if you really think about it.
Yeah, it's the 24th anniversary of 9/11, and then yesterday the whole Charlie Kirk thing, and the other lady who got murdered on the bus or whatever, on the subway or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, it's been a real dark couple days. Definitely mentally, just physically, more mentally, obviously, mentally exhausting. But hopefully, this can hopefully can give a little bit of light in people's lives here to tune in and watch this or hear us talk about a couple films, kind of get their minds off everything.
Yeah, we shall, to quote a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, we shall use every device we know in our pursuit to divert you. But we've got another weird double feature this time around, one about a cult and one about Minnie Driver getting the heart of David Duchovny's ex. Talk
Yeah,
about wild. But
yeah. I mean,
we liked both, though we really did
yeah,
like both.
yeah. Both are really solid. So this is a really good week here at the 2000s. So looking forward to diving into these two films.
Well, we'll get into all of that in just a second, but if you do like this video, leave a like and subscribe if you're listening on Spotify. We'd appreciate some stars. That would be very nice of you. But with that out of the way, let us get into it, starting off with a movie starring the late, great Paul Walker, and would pretty much connect him with the guy that would give him his big break, in a sense, in Rob Cohen. It's The Skulls. It was directed by Rob Cohen, who previously had done some work, but would go on to direct The Fast and the Furious, the first one, Triple X. It's not anything related to do with Maxine or anything related to A24. This is the Vin Diesel movie where he's a BMX star and he becomes a part of the CIA. It's a lot of fun. He would also direct Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and Hurricane Heist. So
Hurricane Heist is solid.
this guy had a career. I'll just leave it at that. And it starred Joshua Jackson, like I said, the late great Paul Walker, Hill Harper, Leslie Bibb, Christopher McDonald, God bless him, and William Peterson and Greg T. Nelson, among others. It tells the story of a young man who is played by Joshua Jackson, who is going to a super big university on a scholarship. However, his scholarship is in jeopardy, but he joins a super secret society called the Skulls, and, well, things go wrong from there. Russell, I was curious if you had seen this one before, because this is one movie that my dad loves, and I remember liking it fine. But I
Yeah.
just remember the fact that this is like one of the rare Paul Walker movies that he was in before Fast and Furious. This and Varsity Blues the year
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah, no, I saw this one several times. This, like I said, I had to dig it out on DVD and watch it because it wasn't anywhere streaming, which is
No,
weird.
it's nowhere streaming. Nowhere
So,
streaming anywhere. We did look. We honestly did, in
so,
fact, look.
yeah, we got it right here. This bad boy. That's why you collect the physical media because of situations like that. But yeah, no, I did see this one and I liked it. I remember watching it and really really liking it. So it was good to revisit this film, and I still hold up liking it just as much as I did before. So yeah.
When a movie isn't even on the Wayback Machine, you know that someone somewhere is trying to bury that thing. But for me
Oh yeah.
personally, I've always liked this movie. It's not like greatest of all time, but it's definitely setting forth for it's a very good thriller. I'll just leave it at that. And Paul Walker is rather, I mean, his lifelong legacy will be Fast and the Furious. I mean, that's just pretty much baked into the cake. But he had quite the career. Varsity Blues, he's very good in that. He's in a very underrated heist movie called Takers, which I really love. He was also in Blue Crush, which I have not seen in a minute, but I think I remember liking. And he's in one of my favorite Disney movies from the 2000s called Eight Below, where he goes back to rescue some from his sled dogs from a blizzard. It's great. Like, it's really
Another
great.
another solid one, really underrated. Running Scared's a really fantastic one too that he was in.
I have never seen that one.
Yeah, check
He
that
was
one out. That's really
he was
good one.
also in Joyride with Steve Zahn, and I have not seen that one ever.
Oh wow,
That
yeah,
needs
Lily Sobieski too's in it. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a really solid film. I remember seeing that one in the theater. But yeah, that's
His
definitely a good
career
one.
his career in the grand scheme of things was rather and unfortunately short. But I mean, he passed away in 2013. Just to give some context, because this movie came out in 2000, and 13 years later he would pass away. So
Yeah.
he crammed a lot into very little time.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, there's a ton of movies. Like, yeah, I think what you said, Into the Blue. I think with him, he did that one with Jessica Alba was in that one.
Oh yeah, I said Blue Crush? What am I doing?
No, I know what you're talking about. Into the Blue was the name of that one. That's with Jessica Alba. That was a really good one. Yeah, but like you said, there was a lot of movies he crammed that weren't Fast and the Furious related. Obviously, we said Varsity Blues, this one, Running Scared, Eight Below. There was a bunch of things that he did that wasn't related to the Fast and Furious franchise. And if you look at it for that short window with this movie, only 13 years left before his untimely death. I mean, he did pack a lot in that short amount of time.
Yeah, and again, just for context, like, I would imagine, because this was produced by Universal, like literally after this was done, he's off doing the Fast and the Furious, because that movie came out in 2001. So if like he's marketing this and then shooting that all at the same time. So man, he must have needed Hermione's time turner or something. But I really do like this movie because, like I said, it's a very good thriller, and it really makes you feel bad for Joshua Jackson's character, because you really want him to make it, because he's smart. He's unfortunately just come from a, not by choice, but just a very financially rough background, and he literally has to do everything he can to scrape by, even if he has to join a very scary cult. Like, let's just call it a cult. That's what it is.
Well, he's doing this also because he wants to pursue his career in legal. He wants to be a lawyer, and he knows that tuition for law school, I think it was like $45,000. I think it was probably for a year or a semester.
Wow.
And he didn't obviously have the funds to do that. And that's 45,000 back then, 25 years ago. So look, imagine now it's probably crazy. Like it's probably over 100,000, I'm sure, easy. But this is kind of his way out. And it's kind of sad because like a lot of these, like I would say cults or like secret societies or whatever prey on people like that because of the fact that they don't have any other option. You are going to these guys because you are out, you're out of luck. You don't have you don't have the means to do these things, so they know that, and you'll do anything you can because they pretty much have you at the palm of their hand because they throw the monetary money at you and this lavish lifestyle. And yeah,
it's a sad reality, but in some cases it is unfortunately rather true. Like, just look up stuff about Jonestown if you want more proof of that. But I feel like going through all these movies in the year 2000, it's like these movies have casts that have no business being this deep of a bench, but just somehow, some way, like just when you think you've seen like the face that be like, okay, that's the weirdest one here, but then another one comes along and you're like, what? Like, you got Joshua Jackson, you got Paul Walker, but then you got Leslie Bibb in this movie, Christopher McDonald, Christopher McDonald is just, he was born to play villains and do them well.
Yeah, and he eats pieces of shit for breakfast. So you got a lot of, it's crazy how it's the first thing it was.
I took shit for breakfast. No,
it was funny because as soon as I forgot he was in this, and I just watched this obviously before we shot it, I'm like, oh shit, Shooter McGavin's in this. Totally forgot about it. But yeah, you have Craig T. Nelson, Joshua Jackson, like we had said, like we were talking off air. It was like, it was kind of sad that he kind of like his career kind of curtailed, but you had him obviously Dawson's Creek in the 90s, so that really brought him into the limelight. But then you had films like this. He was in Wes Craven's Cursed. He was in, I think, was it Teaching? No, was he in? No, he wasn't in Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I feel like he was in one of those other films of the early 90s and 2000s. I don't know.
I know the one you mean, but he was in Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream, yeah.
He was Kent Mansley in one of my favorite anime movies of all time, The Iron Giant. He's just
Mighty
so
Ducks,
good.
obviously. He's Conway, and yeah.
He was in The Faculty, like you mentioned. That movie is mad underrated too.
Faculty, is that the other one he's in? The Faculty with Josh Hartnett.
He's Elijah Wood's dad in that movie. Which, talk about, like, if I ever do a 1998 project, I'll definitely bring up just how loaded that cast is. Like
Faculty
Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood, Jordana Brewster, like Salma Hayek, like the list goes on.
That Faculty was such an underrated film. It's a cult classic now. It pretty much it's funny how when it came out, like people liked it okay, and I loved it when I first saw it. I remember like really digging it, and then it was just funny to watch it like get its wings over the years, like just how widespread it like really became like a cult classic. It's kind of funny how that happened. But then, like we said, Karate Kid Legends, there he is, Joshua Jackson back in the house.
Yeah, and then. And going back to McDonald, I mean, he's still going. Like he's just this year alone, he was in The Last Rodeo for Angel Studios, a movie that I think is actually rather good.
I wanted to see
and
that.
Happy Gilmore too, which was awful, but he was good in it, so God bless him.
Chris McDonough was in that too, right? The Last Rodeo.
Yes, he was the head of the. Let's not call it the PBR, but it's the PBR. Like he's the Dana White of that league.
Okay, and I wanted to see that.
It's good. It's very good. Angel Studios are actually quite good at their job. Like they're one of the few faith-based movie studios that actually don't demonize people that aren't of faith, and they actually treat them with a small amount of respect.
That's what like the Sound of Freedom was that right? That was the big one with Jim Caviezel. That really put their studio on the map because it was like I liked that one. I think there was one. Was it After Death? I think there was another one called After Death. Was it?
That sounds about right. Yes.
Yeah, I think that was kind of cool. Yeah, no, their stuff's pretty solid. The one I really didn't care for, I thought it was very long and it got boring at times. Was that the Jewish guy that got killed at the end? Bonhoeffer or something. That was that Angel Studios?
That was, yeah. I can't remember the title now, but I just
Hoffs or Bond something. He was like Anyway, I just thought it was really long. I thought they kind of dragged it out. It was one of those ones I kind of lost. What was the other one that I saw? It was where they set up like it was almost like a quarantine. What the hell was that one? Where they had the big it was like a big mansion area, and they had like people that were staying outside of the gates and stuff like that to their estate, and I feel like it just came out recently.
That first one you mentioned was just called Bonhoeffer. That's
Bonhoeffer. That was it. Yeah. Then there was another one. Like I said, I think Neil McDonough's in it, and it was like where they have like this this estate and whatever, and they hire like guys to pretty much like work security on their perimeter of their property. What the hell is it called? I can't think of the name of it. It recently came out.
There's this movie called The Shift. Does that
sound
Shift familiar?
Let me double check that here. Hold on.
Following a tense encounter with a mysterious stranger with otherworldly powers, a man is banished to parallel tyrannical. Not the one.
I remember seeing that one, and I didn't really care for that one. That was another one of the Angel Studio ones I didn't care for. I'm pretty sure Neil McDonough's in this other one. Let me look here real quick here, just for some clarity for our it was called Homestead. Yeah, Homestead.
Okay. Yeah. That's the other one I was going to be like, is that the one?
Yeah, I like that one. Okay, that one was okay. I know like a lot of people kind of bashed on it critically, but I find their films okay. I like it. They don't shove religion down your throat like other faith-based studios kind of do, and I kind of appreciate that. It lets
thankfully, the cur known as Pure Flix has been relegated to straight to streaming by the grace of God. But
what happened with that? Why aren't they releasing stuff to theaters anymore?
They have their own. They have their own network that they release stuff to, kind of like Hallmark.
Okay, that makes sense because I know like The God's Not Dead was a quadrilogy now because there's 4 or 5 of them.
Four of those things.
4.
I don't want to I don't want to like spend too much time talking
And
about those.
anyway, moving forward.
Circling back to the skulls. Point is, this movie's a loaded cast. Like, just
Yeah.
when you think, like McDonald, like we talked about, Craig T. Nelson is in this movie. Like, just like character actors who like you'd be like, but then you
Yeah.
like go down their filmography, like they've been in everything.
Yeah, you wouldn't put all these like you said, like nowadays you wouldn't have. I'm not saying you wasted time, but you wouldn't even think of this like all these actors, like all this talent in a small film called The Skulls. You know what I mean? They wouldn't
Mhm.
put that much talent in one film now, obviously to save money. Budget wise, I'm kind of curious to see where we were at on this one. Let's give this a little look here. Budget of the film was, let's see, we have a budget of 35 million, and
Oh,
this
that's
movie,
not bad.
and yeah, that's quite a bit. Opening weekend made 11, but gross worldwide 50, so it definitely made its money back. And obviously left it open for a couple sequels too. So
Yeah, there's like a trilogy, I think.
yeah,
If I'm wrong about that, I'll correct myself in the edit. But to put the button on this one, for me, I think it's underrated in quite a few places. I'm going to give this a great rating, which sounds rather generous, but at the same time, this movie's a very simple story, but like this could have so easily been like Black Christmas 2019, like where the cult aspect could have been way in your face and bad. But there's the most of the characters are somewhat sympathetic here, which is a very big key to something like this. And the then the thrills are subtle enough to where you're going like, okay, this is actually really good. So Rob Cohen did a really good job here. And like after this, he would go on straight into like Fast and Furious and Triple X and mostly action after this. I kind of want to see what he would do maybe on like a Skulls remake or a Legacy sequel. I don't know. I'd see it.
yeah, no, I enjoyed this one when I first saw it. Enjoyed it again. Kind of like what you said. I thought the movie obviously followed you enough to where you were like curious, edge of your seat type. What's going to happen? And kind of what you said. Yeah, obviously like that 2019 Black Christmas, which was a hard left turn into a cult, which you never even would have even assumed, having seen the other two prior films. I'm talking about the OG Bob Clark one, and then obviously the Black Christmas with
Carrie Elways, which
carry out.
I hope
Yeah, already yeah.
I hope they paid him enough for that. I mean, just going from the subtlety of the Bob Clark one to a face where you never see it, to melting statues and the greater good scene from Hot Fuzz, but taken seriously. Think
Yeah,
of the ground that covers.
but remember the other Black Christmas that came out in 04 or 06, I think there was another one.
That one's actually Shakespeare compared to the 19 one.
100%. It looks like Citizen Kane compared to 2019, man. 2019 is just a real bad flick that, yeah, one day we'll have to chat about.
Yeah, as we go deeper into the 2000s, we'll definitely be crossing that bridge. But let's carry on to the other half of our double feature and hard left in tone and not quality, but like just general tone and subject matter. This is Return to Me.
Joe, maybe you should put on a shirt or Grace will never be satisfied by another man.
This was directed by Bonnie Hunt, who is primarily known as an actress. She is the voice of Sally in the Cars franchise. Like she has done a lot of voice work. I'll just leave it at that. I'll always know her as Steve Martin's wife in the Cheaper by the Dozen movies.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
she's great in those.
yeah.
And it starred David Duchovny, Minnie Driver, Carol O'Connor, rest in peace, and Jim Belushi, among many others. And it tells the story of two people who have been through tragedies. One, played by David Duchovny, his wife has recently passed away, and Minnie Driver's character, who just got through a rather bad breakup. So the two end up finding each other, but then Duchovny later learns that she got a heart transplant, but got the heart of his former wife, or of his widowed wife. And so that's why check your organ donor card, kids. But as I had seen this one before, and I remember liking it, but I was like, if Russell really liked Down to You, he's going to love this one. And sure enough, I was bang on the money. You really liked this one.
Yeah, and just to give some connection to our last episode, segue to Ocean's 11, Dean Martin. We have an opening song, "Return to Me" by Dean Martin, which I thought was only so poignant to tie this in to the chick flick that we are watching. But yeah, I really dug it. I feel like the beginning scene kind of happened quickly. Like David Duchovny's with his wife, and then all of a sudden they get into a car accident, and then they're in the hospital and she's dead. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it was like boom, 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 and then obviously, yeah, we see Minnie Driver's character who's waiting for a heart. She is in the hospital, and she's anticipating a heart transplant. So, yeah, it is, and you kind of already know where we're gonna go with it, but how they do it and we'll talk later about obviously the stacked cast in this film too that really just adds to the whole entire love of this film. And it's crazy that this movie got a 7.0 on IMDb, which is completely crazy because I would not have thought a film like this would have gotten that much love. You know what I mean? This is the type of movie that a lot of people kind of would probably crap on, you know?
Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting time for this film to come out because I believe, and I have not watched all of X-Files, so someone correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe this is around the same time that Duchovny had left the show due to, I believe it was creative differences. Again, someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But by the time this movie comes out, X-Files is still going with Robert Patrick in the role opposite Scully. And again, I have not seen all of X-Files. I've seen a few episodes and liked them, but from what I can recall, that was not a popular decision. Though, bless Robert Patrick, he's great at everything he does. I'm loving him in Peacemaker, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, loved. I mean, Duchovny and X-Files with Gillian Anderson was fantastic. That was such a great series. I've seen a bunch of episodes. I don't know how many seasons I've seen, but I saw both of the films, and then I even watched when they returned back for the later episodes years after, which I dug. But yeah, but anyway, no, and this is a time obviously too when like Duchovny was doing a lot of like experimenting with like a different side. Obviously not the sci-fi, you know, trying to break away from the X-Files, because I believe he was also in like I don't think was there one called Playing God? Was he in something Playing God?
I know he was in a show called Californication.
Californication, but I think there was, and I'm thinking like Playing God. There's a movie called Playing God, and I don't know if it's him or if it's Greg Kinnear or so. I don't know who I'm thinking of. I could be wrong. Anyway, let me double check that real quick.
You're right. It's Duchovny.
It is Duchovny Playing God?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. He was in a bunch of different films, so I remember in that time, but he was breaking himself out of the sci-fi, molder, you know what I mean? And you had to appreciate that. He just showed up in different things. He was just in that film, I think, a couple years ago with Meg Ryan, where they're stuck at the airport. They're snowed in there at the airport, which I kind of liked because it was nice to see Meg Ryan back on the big screen after this big, giant, long hiatus. But yeah, anyway, what I liked about the film, though, I appreciated I liked the chemistry between the characters. And Carol O'Connor in anything, fantastic. This was his last film before his death. Obviously, will always be known as Archie Bunker from All in the Family. But he's such a really underrated actor. And also the other guy that was one of his friends that was in the movie was also in Independence Day. If you've recognized him, he was one of the colonels or whatever in Independence Day.
Oh yeah. And he's one of those actors that's been in so many things. Again,
so many.
Kind of the theme. I was like, where have I seen him before? But his career is just long and vast. It's like the Michael Ripper effect. You don't know where you've seen his face, but you know you've seen his face.
Yeah, it's just one of those side actors, side character, character actors that just randomly appears in different things, and it's like, oh, that guy, yeah, like you've seen him so many times. But no, this movie is, like I said, you know where it's going, but I think it takes a good enough approach and a good enough, creativity to it to get there, and I do appreciate that. I mean, you could have made this way more cornier, you know what I mean, and made it worse. I liked it enough, so I definitely recommend this film for all the rom-com or romantic chick flick type films.
I also like how they make you care about these two people and not just like force them together to be like, you're supposed to care, you're supposed to. Like, they actually take the steps and actually
Well,
make
yeah.
you make them like they don't make you. They just throw them together, and then just through their charisma, like Duchovny's and Drivers,
Yeah.
it just clicks and it makes sense.
Well, yeah, and they don't rush the characters together. It's like all of a sudden, oh, you're a widow. Oh, you just meet her. Oh, they're in love. You're together at the end. No, they take time. There's many dates where they're going out. They're not, they're just hanging out. They're enjoying each other's company. They're not, taking things to the next level by any means. They're taking their time with things. Minnie Driver's self-conscious because of her scar on her chest. Obviously, Duchovny's character is taking his time because he just lost his wife. He's not trying to, rush into anything. He has all that other stuff that building the add-on at the zoo and stuff like that he has going on. So I appreciate the they take the time to put the characters together. They don't rush it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this. I was teetering between good and great. I'm gonna give this a great rating. This is cliched for sure. You've definitely seen something like this before, but everyone's giving their all. The actors are all solid. It makes you laugh at times. Gets you emotional at times. It does the job it's supposed to do, and I think that is admirable.
Yeah, for sure.
But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of either one of these movies? Let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. And Russell, it's a privilege to do this with you every Friday. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me and my buddy Chance Ellison. Notorious by Chance is the podcast, the Facebook group that we put up. We put polls up. We are going to be shooting our 200th episode. At the time of this one, we closed the poll. We will be talking Schindler's List for our 200th film. So stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned. YouTube, Notorious by Chance. Chance puts up a lot of content with the NFL season. They do Left Side, Strong Side. They just shot an episode the other day, so they'll be doing that every Tuesday during the NFL season. And yeah,
all those links will be down below. Go give them a subscribe over there. As far as this channel goes, next Friday we'll be returning to the horror movie Iceberg. The rec movies are done, and we now dive into the 2 quarantine movies, starting off with Quarantine, which I have never seen, but I've heard sort of mixed things, so that'll be very interesting to check out. And as far as the 2000s go, when we return to that year, we will be taking a look at yet another weird-ass double feature, starting off with William Friedkin's Rules of Engagement, starring Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones, and 28 Days. I'm not talking about the zombie one. I'm talking about 28 Days where Sandra Bullock goes into rehab, because just these double features just cannot be normal. There's a rule somewhere where they're just all over the place. But that'll be for next time. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.